So, can AI help you heal your emotional eating? Recently, someone left a comment on one of my YouTube videos saying that she had used AI to help her find the root of her emotional eating. And so as I was reading this message, she said she'd never tried somatic work. And so what that told me was that even though she had used a tool like AI to find her root, it was still very much a cognitive understanding of her root of her emotional eating. So AI can give you awareness. It can help you sort of pinpoint patterns. It's pulling in a lot of knowledge from the internet and it can help you, but you are going to be the authority on if that's actually the root. And what I've found with clients is that without doing the deeper work in your body, even if you think that's the root of your emotional eating, it might not necessarily be the deeper root because you have to access this in your body. And also, finding the root of your emotional eating doesn't equal healing. You actually have to heal the root of your emotional eating. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist specializing in emotional eating. So let's dive in. So I've actually spent a lot of time experimenting with AI. I'm not someone that's going to throw something out. AI is here. It's integrated into everything. It's much like the internet. If we said we would never use the internet, you're going to be curious about it. It's changing very rapidly. And sometimes it's important to dive in and experiment with something to see the capabilities and the limits of what it does. Especially with my line of work, a lot of people have turned to AI to use it as a therapist. And even when I'm sharing about emotional eating, I don't think talk therapy is the only route to healing emotional eating. I think it's great AI, and much like talk therapy, you can gain a lot of awareness and insight, but it stops at the cognitive level. And healing emotional eating is not just an awareness issue. That's the first step. You have to go deeper into the pattern. You have to have an embodied change. You have to have a process. And I get it. I love learning. I love books. I love, researching things, and that's so great. But what I learned in my own journey with emotional eating is that I needed an embodied process, an embodied way of moving through this pattern, because it really does live in our body. And without changing it there, we're still just almost distracting ourselves with knowledge. And we can get stuck in that loop for years and years, be in therapy for years and years without actually shifting the pattern, actually transforming it. And that leaves us feeling stuck. And so when I've used AI, I've tried to see how it can pull patterns, what awareness it can give me. It's almost like pulling in all of this information that you can learn so much about a pattern. You can see possibilities, you can see probabilities, but it doesn't mean it's always the truth for you. You have to be the authority on you, and you need to have a process where you can discern that, because AI is a powerful tool. It's not the authority on you. It's not the source of you. It's a tool, and it needs to be viewed as that. And so here's one of the biggest things I've noticed, because AI is not in a body. It's not in a human body. It hasn't worked through emotional eating. It hasn't experienced this. And I mean, I can extrapolate this to people who haven't experienced emotional eating that are helping their clients with it. There are nuances of the journey. There are experiences that you go through that are within while you're healing something. And I can look back at my own journey of emotional eating and see the ins and outs of it. I went to practitioners. I went to different people to help me with it. I read a lot of books and I tried to understand it, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. I had to go in deeper into what was actually creating this pattern for me. And emotional eating is a coping mechanism to deal with your emotions. So you have to be versed in the emotional realm and processing and moving through that on a body level. While AI can guide you into steps, it's not going to be sitting next to you, moving through the sensations, understanding what they mean, helping you navigate discomfort. It's going to be one sentence and another sentence. There is no real-time processing with AI. It might make you feel like you're understood, like you understand your pattern, but it's not going to go deeper into the actual healing process, the parts of you, and see that interplay. So let's say you use it and you figure out, the root of my emotional eating is that I don't feel good enough. Okay, well, that's a belief. And where did that belief come from? It came from experience, certain experiences you had through childhood. And how do you start healing that? You have to start integrating those experiences, repatterning them on a body level. Just knowing your emotional eating stems from whenever you feel not good enough doesn't heal it, but it gives you a starting point. And so knowing is not the same as healing or embodiment. You can know a lot of things. I think back to the beginning of my journey. I was reading, I was learning, and I had so much knowledge. You can have, I have so much knowledge. There's so much information overflow. But if we can't tangibly use that information and integrate it and know the process, we're not going to get anywhere. We're going to have a lot of thoughts and we're going to get confused. Do I go this way or that way? What's real for me? When you are in your body, when you know how to be in your body, you're going to know what is actually going to work for you. You will have an inclination about what's the right step. You will have a process. And that's what we need to have in order to discern what's going to work for us. And so when I'm working with women, this is what we're going through. This is what I'm teaching them, what I'm moving through with them, what I'm guiding them through, what we're doing in sessions is really moving through their emotional eating in this way so that they become the authority on themselves. They learn how to do that. And so this is also really parallel to talk therapy. You might be able to, identify your triggers or look at your pattern and see, yes, this came from childhood. This came from not being seen or heard or validated. I share these things very openly in a lot of my videos, but it's nuanced for each person. There is a process for each person. And, we need to do that deeper work for you individually to start healing this. And that is very different to just having knowledge and quickly, almost like having a super Google that puts together a lot of information and tells you your pattern. It can be a distraction in a way because you have so much knowledge about it. And so we have to also understand, just because our mind knows something doesn't mean we've taken that into our body to repattern it. We need a process to connect the two together to start really working with the body, because our body is the one perpetuating this pattern. It's the one, triggered into emotional eating. Our mind really has 5% power against our emotional eating pattern. Our emotional eating, when it's triggered, it has 95% power, and we need an embodied way of getting into that to start transforming the pattern in the body. And so when you're just reading about things, you're not changing your nervous system. You are not doing that work of being with the sensations, moving through the discomfort that you had as a child that you didn't know how to deal with, that you started going to food to do. So knowledge doesn't change this pattern. And so this is where I think AI reaches its limits. There's awareness, but then you have to take that awareness and see how it's specific for you and how it works in your body, because AI doesn't have a body to understand how that works for a human, how emotions feel in our body, what's sort of going on. It could talk about it, but it can't guide you through that process like another human next to you can when they're guiding you through a somatic process or embodied process and really navigating sort of your inner landscape. That is not replicable with AI. And so while AI can recognize patterns and all of these things, it can't help you heal this in your body. Whereas when you work with a practitioner, you're co-regulating with them. You're feeling their nervous system. You're feeling that's something humans, if you think about a mother and a child, their nervous systems are constantly talking to each other. That's why as children, we need to be modeled how to move through our emotions, but we also need our parents or caregivers to have a safe, calm nervous system. So our body literally starts co-regulating and calming down in the presence of a physical human being. And that helps us to move through the discomfort and to learn how to do that. You can't do that with AI. It doesn't have a body. So that's a physical thing that we need to do with another human. So can AI help you with your emotional eating? I think it can be valuable in helping you to understand yourself, give you more awareness, understand patterns, to whatever level you're at. But I don't want you to mistake awareness for transformation and get stuck there thinking, I got it. I know why I emotionally eat, and just kind of sit there. that's the first step. Healing really happens when this insight is embodied and you work through this on a body level. When your nervous system learns something new, when those protective parts of you start transforming and seeing a new way, that's what starts healing this pattern. When you learn how to relate to food in a different way, to your body in a different way. Healing your emotional eating is reconnecting back to your body because you've escaped your body and your emotions through food. And if you keep going to, keep learning about it, keep finding out things, or think you've hit the root in your mind, you are disconnected even more from your body, and it can become a distraction. You have to turn towards yourself, dive deeper to really start healing this pattern. And so this is the work I do with my clients. Yes, part of it is awareness and knowledge, but the deeper work is in the body. And so if you're ready to start resolving your emotional eating, you're looking for that support and guidance, I'd love to invite you to find out more about the Emotional Eating Evolution Program. This is my 12-week container, the step-by-step process to resolve your emotional eating, weekly office hours, one-to-one sessions with me, and the deeper tools to start shifting this pattern and getting to ease and peace around food and in your body. And if you'd like to find out more about it, the link is below. And as a next step, if you would like that support and guidance, I would love to invite you to book in an emotional eating clarity call. On the call, I find out more about you, what you've tried, and how I can support you in the program. So the links for both of those are below. I just want to say, if you have any questions, please let me know. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.